Okay, it ties into something I got this week. So this week I got one of the guys I'm working with wrote a journal, and I got permission from him to share this part of the journal. This is what he said. I struggle a bit with the balance of it being drilled into our culture that we need to work like mules to be good people, and on the flip side of being a good person, as the Bible teaches us to be, helping others, sharing the gospel, providing for the less fortunate, being a faithful dad, husband, and all the things, and making disciples out of my family. I feel like it's easier to get pulled into overworking and having to push myself towards these other things that are actually more important. And I thought, as I read that, I was like, this is like most guys I know. We have this idea that if you're working super hard, working like a mule, like putting in tons of hours, making money, that gets praised in our culture. Like that's almost like something you're proud about.
It's an idol.
Yeah. But then the other side is like, realizing, okay, there's other responsibilities, but that doesn't, you don't get the accolades for that.
No, you don't get pats on the back at home for changing diapers.
You do 20 years later, though, if you consistently do it and you have a good relationship with your son.
Yeah, or even
daughter.
Just your wife. I mean, my wife's super appreciative when I'm helpful.
What do you think about that?
That's why I don't like the question that was asked, because whoever's asking that is looking at me in a certain way, which probably isn't that healthy. Like, or, they're not looking at, they're not thinking, okay, like who's sacrificing, right? I mean,
so if you look back at, since 2000,
well,
like,
my wife,
what's
in our
sacrifice?
early years of marriage, often I would start work at 4 or 5 in the morning and come home at 10 at night, like literally just come home at 9 or 10 at night. And then she would say like, hey, if we have a family, like you can't live like this. This is not going to work. Well, it didn't work then either. Like if I already have regrets in my early years of marriage, like, can you push really hard? Yeah, but you still have to have some levels of boundaries. You have to realize that it will never be enough, right? There's the old saying, how much is enough money? Just a little bit more. Like that's a fact for everybody. It does not matter how wealthy you are. And I mean, it probably doesn't come across as well from someone like me who's relatively well off, but even people that are barely getting by, like the level of contentment, it's not coming from that stuff, right? You obviously got to be able to feed your family and pay your bills, but I think that the area where I've struggled is kind of always in my life has been, hey, what does ministry look like? Or should I be more doing that or what? No, like we're supposed to work with our giftings. And so if mine is an entrepreneurial thing or I'm able to do this, hey, that's what I got to do, right? And I should be able to do that. And I mean, Bill Booster shared about it really well.
Oh, it should be able to be a
part of it.
The and should be the work.
Yeah. Yeah. But he articulated it better than I am, but just the idea of being even in his own company, right? Just being generous, being caring for employees and all that. And
I think a big part of it is like your values. Like if you don't have your values, you're not clear on what you want, the data again of what you actually believe that, I believe that my family is more important than my work. If you're not clear on that or it hasn't been modeled to you or something like that, then you're going to go off of your feelings and what feels better. And naturally we're going to go to things that serve us more than serve the people around us.
I do feel like an entrepreneur, and this is where there needs to be probably a lot of communication, especially in a relationship. But like for me, the early years, and I granted some people just are probably very blessed and become successful and wealthy very quick in a business. I mean, it wouldn't have been healthy for me if that happened. Most people can handle failure way better than they can actually handle success. And definitely more characters.
What do you mean by that? People can handle failure better than they can handle success.
Most men can't handle success that well, right? Most people will tend to become proud. Most people will tend to want more money, not become more generous when they get wealthy. Most people will become thinking they're doing it when they, or cling tighter to their stuff, right? Like, that's not all people. I'm not paintbrushing. I'm just saying that like in really, really hard times, like I noticed it when we had the flood on our farm in 21, like, people's amazing. There's a few stories of bad stories, but most people were just amazing. And most people, their character shone way brighter. Like people that I didn't even know had the helping spirit were just like showing up with food, meals, and just it was humbling, right? And so I think the idea of everybody wanting to be successful, whatever our North American culture is probably not right. At the same time, there's people that are called to be extremely business oriented, entrepreneurial, driven. And they have to use their giftings, whatever that looks like, right? Yeah. So that's the challenge. Not at the expense of their family. No. But where I was going with that is in the early seasons of a business, there is going to be some sacrifice on the part of family. most likely.
That's acceptable?
I think it is. I think it'd be a utopia to think that people that built amazing things over the centuries to think, oh, they could have just toned her down a little bit and been successful. I mean, I don't know. I would struggle with that. I don't have a biblical reference for why I'm justifying that right now. I just feel like I'm saying I did way too far.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's people that are building businesses, their life is not going to look like the person that works for them. There just never are. The person that's building something is wearing a weight and responsibility that an employee will never fully understand unless they go do it themselves.
Yeah, a weight and responsibility I can fully accept and understand.
Time. But there's just going to be crap that you have to deal with at inopportune times. There's going to be families at holidays that are not going to look the same as the person who leaves their phone at home and doesn't have to deal with anything for a week, right?
Yeah, I guess I think that, people can just run away with that.
I've justified all kinds of horrible things, so I'm probably not the one to give a lecture on it.
But on the money thing, that's interesting. You said that how you think failure is easier to handle than success. I read this quote from Spurgeon this week. It's a little bit longer, but he says, "It is very difficult for a man to have much money running through his hands without some of it sticking. It is very sticky stuff, and once it sticks to the hands, they are not clean in the sight of the Lord. Unless a man is able to use money without abusing it, accepting it as a talent lent to him, and not as a treasure given to him, it will soon happen. The more money he has, the more troubles he will have." Charles Spurgeon.
Okay, well, I don't want to butcher a Spurgeon quote, but one of my sayings that I always use is, "Money's like honey. The more you play with it, the more it sticks to you."
Oh, there we go. I think Spurgeon would approve.
Oh dear.
But I think with money too, I think Randy Dyke said it in his podcast. He became really successful in one area, and he right away started assuming he was going to be really smart in all these other areas.
And just got educated.
Yeah, and money does that, right? You start making a lot of money, you start thinking you have power, and
also, who cares? Like, I think that most people fear failure too much in the sense of, like, even if you do fall flat on your face, like, at least you did it. Most people are just standing on the sidelines, pointing fingers, being critical, and never, like, the man in the, what's the quote from was it a president that said it, or
said what?
Oh, it's the man in the ring quote. Have you not heard it?
Man in the ring?
Yeah. Anyways, we'll find it for next
president?
Podcast. Yeah, it's a good quote. It's one of my favorite quotes. Just proverbial ring. It's about the man that's actually in the ring fighting, taking a beating.
Oh, okay.
I'm probably using the wrong term. Somebody's listening to this just short circuiting because I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyways,
okay. Well, good answer. I enjoyed that. Proverb of the week. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that episode and were blessed by it, would you be willing to support the show? That would help a lot in creating more content, improving the quality of the content, putting the production value. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that episode and were blessed by it, would you be willing to support the show? That would help. If you're interested in doing that, you can create more content and improving the quality of the content. Subscribe to the podcast. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that episode and were blessed by it, would you be willing to support the show? That would